All right, this guy's an interesting game always, like, because he plays really, really oddly, and I actually don't know how to handle him very well. I mean, yeah, I kind of do, but then again, I kind of don't. So we're gonna try and see what he does. Yeah, well, I mean that's not odd, but a lot of times he would do like random other stuff, and realistically, I just don't really know what to. I'm honestly just not sure what to make of him sometimes. Because like his I mean like this guy says he's a bot, but I know he's not a bot because bots don't play this way. See, like that's an awful move. I just I don't get this guy. I really don't. Why would you? Why would you make these moves? I'm just really confused. Like these moves don't really make much sense. First of all, like the moves he does like legit don't make any sense. But the thing is, like, they're so odd that I don't really know how to handle them that well. That's my problem with like his style of play. I don't know how to handle his moves that well. I want to do this, but that's not a good move because he can do that. I, yeah, like I said, I don't know how to handle his moves all that well. So his moves are just very, very strange to me because I don't really ever see them. I'll do this first. He can't threaten that group. But his moves are incredibly strange to me because I don't ever see moves like this before. And that's God's honest truth. I don't. I mean, they're not good moves. Don't get me wrong; they're horrible moves, actually. But they're just so odd. Like I think like this guy like maintains 2Q. I've played with him at like 4 times, 3 times already. I've lost once, won twice. And the one I lost was just like I have no idea what to do with this guy. Uh, like his moves are so odd that like it catches you off guard. It's not like he is looking for a fight, but I think like guys like this, they basically just try to like throw you off guard, and that's like literally their mode of play. Like they do their best to just completely throw you off guard, and they do a pretty good job of it, honestly. They do a very very good job of it. Yeah, see like this move, I don't want to give him these 3 stones, but he has actually no way of killing them. So I'm not really sure, like, see the thing is I just don't really know what to do with this move. Guess I can just Hane. I mean, it's kind of strange. I do want to clean this up, but I think this is dead anyways, so I'm not really sure. I'm pretty sure it's dead, but I'm not like 100% sure it's dead. Actually, these 3, like, if I look at it, they're not really worth all that much. But that's also a really bad move from him. Okay, I gotta like actually look at this now. 'Cause if he connects here, I can do it this way. Get attacked from that end. If I do this, he just does this, and then he extends out. I have a lot of problems that I can't solve. If I just do this, he comes out. That's going to be extremely problematic. If I do this, he comes out. That's also going to be... I have to do this. So this is like where you would sack those 3 stones, because there's just no point in those 3 stones. And you get Sinte. The 3 stones really aren't worth all that much. And you get the Sinte, so it's not actually that bad. Yeah, it kind of sucks. You have to give up a couple of points, but like you don't get. He doesn't get any influence on the outside. It does settle him, but I don't think this group was really ever in trouble, anyways. He could do this first, which he did. This guy's actually not that bad at attacking. I will say that though. But he is really, really random. Which honestly bugs the hell out of me at times. I don't even know what to do with that. I feel like I'm just going to invade the 3-3. There's not really a good way he's going to capture that stone. I can largely just ignore him. This is also, well, it's not Sente, but if I do this, it kind of, it's okay if I do this, actually. Because that would give me this move, and that would settle it and stuff, but, you know. Over here, I just didn't know how to handle this very well, because, I mean, I did okay in the end, because this thing essentially is dead, but... I don't know, it's just so strange. So very, very strange how this guy plays. Extremely strange. I don't know, man. It's just weird how he plays. That's my opinion. I mean, I think he's definitely behind now because I basically just killed that bottom group, but still. You can't actually do that. There's too many shall we say, problems here. But that's going to be answerable to another time, I guess. I feel like he's trying to cook up some kind of like crazy convoluted plan now. I have no idea what it is. But I can definitely see like the strange play, like essentially like throwing people off, because it's definitely a play style that's not seen that often at all. I don't really care if he Hanes that one. Might have been a bad idea, though. I mean, you have... I shouldn't have done that, actually. You have problems over here. Definitely have a lot of problems over here. Okay, I could follow through and just clamp down, but that would damage those stones. I'm thinking about doing that because I actually think that's a pretty good idea. Just to drive this and then come down. I think that's what I'm going to do. Or I can just do this. Straight up. I think I'm going to do this straight up. That is entirely useless. You can get this pouch, but that's not too many points. I can also sack these four now because this influence is useless if he's willing to give me the bottom side. So there's just a lot of things that you can eventually just sacrifice. Like if he charges this, I'm just going to retreat and just take the bottom if he wants the 4 stones, because these 4 aren't that useful anymore. That's actually really awful. The best thing to do is just take this. Really can't do anything. If he tries, I'm just going to do this. Or actually, yeah, just do that. I think he's just like he's losing way too much. He's losing way too much elsewhere to really make up for anything right now. Like, those four aren't really that important. Now I just like doing random crap. Thought he was gonna go the other way, actually.
You have won.
So he resigns. He's lost by way too much. Yeah, like, you know, if he has like so many problems here, you know, there's like, you know, there's all these, you know, there's all these moves here. If he, for instance, does this, and then, you know, I do something like this, you know, he has a lot of issues. Or even if I just, you know, go down and do this, he has a lot of issues. And essentially, you know, like, he has to do something like this, because if he's gonna do this, I'm just gonna go up here, you know. If he does this, I'm not even gonna fight the ko with him. I'm just gonna do this and connect out. So he has huge issues here. And the thing is, like, I do this, you know, he actually has to either come out or take this. And if he takes that, if he ends up taking that, I'm not gonna go bother here right now. I'm just gonna cut here, and all this, like, his shape here is gonna be really bad. Like I said, like, this guy did win against me once because he completely caught me off guard. I mean, he can't actually do this because I had Atari right here. If he does this, I'm just gonna take, obviously. So, and if he does this, I'm gonna take first, and then you might try to kill me, but that's pretty much impossible. That's pretty much going to be impossible with this group being weak and you still not out of the woods here yet. Or, you know, like, in this case, I might even try to do this, be a little bit stronger. And the thing is, like, if you do that, yeah, I'm just going to fight the ko. Like, you're basically reduced to fighting ko with me. And that does not favor you. Yeah, like, that really doesn't favor you. And you don't, I mean, you have a couple of ko threats over here, but even if you take my stones in here, you're still not ahead, because if you take my stones in here, I'm just going to kill all of this, and I'll still be ahead. So, there's so many problems with this play. I mean, like I said, like, I'm 3-1 against this guy, and that one time he won, the one time he actually won was because he just caught me off guard with some crazy ass play, and I didn't exactly know how to respond. So that only works up to a certain extent. Once players actually get strong enough, this doesn't work. This is perfectly fine. That move is perfectly fine. I still think the corner 3-3 is better. I do this, he does this, I do this. I don't really know what he's expecting with this move. Like, was he just expecting me to do this or something? Because even if I do this, I mean, it's not that great for him, because if he does this, I'm just going to go this way. Like, but the obvious move here is to come out, because now you have this weak group, and you have this weak group. If you come out here, you know, I don't even have to block. I can just do this, and your shape is ruined. Or I can do this, take the corner, and I mean, your group here is still really weak, and you can't seal me off. And what are you going to do with these two stones here? That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, I don't really understand. So I might have been better off just kind of like, you know, instead of blocking here, just doing this. But I decided to block, because I wanted the corner as well. I mean, he still has two groups that is really hard to deal with. I basically separate them. This stone's really not that weak. So he does this. That's a bad move by me, most likely. This actually might have been better, but I don't exactly know how to threaten him, honestly. Like, I mean, this is held up against like tough stones. I don't exactly know how to threaten him here, but I mean, I don't think this is a good move. But I mean, like I'm kind of lost here. This is one of those things where, like, you know what? I don't exactly know how to deal with this. I think I could just play somewhere else. I could play this, or I could do what I did. I don't think this is a good move. But the thing is, like, but the thing is, like, me forcing him isn't that bad because essentially I'm pressuring this group as well while, pressuring this group. And if I come down here, I basically have a bit of a base, and he still doesn't have anything. So he does that. I don't have to answer. He can't seal me. He really can't seal me in any way. So I'm just going to go ahead and kill this first. Obviously, double Hane. And I don't exactly know how you would... Because if he does this, I'm just going to go ahead and extend. So I don't really know how you would actually... Because this doesn't actually work. Because I can just extend forever, essentially. And even if he does this, like, this is going to be difficult for him to answer. So, yeah, he can't really answer that. So, essentially, like, he has to keep extending, and this is kind of dead either way. I mean, there's no way you can actually live this, right? So, this is kind of dead in here. So, you give me all this, and you're still not very strong. I mean, you have some wall, but it doesn't really matter. So he basically, like, this is basically dead. Gives that. He doesn't even have a base right now. And yeah, these stones aren't the strongest, but, I mean, you're not going to be able to kill all of them. He does this. This is also one I'm not too sure how to actually answer. I think the Hane out's okay for the most part, because these 3 stones, like I said, are sacrificable. Do this. He does this. He wants to kill my 3 stones. Like, he probably wants me to do that so he can do that. So he gets some territory. And I have a weak group, but there's no way I'm going to do that because, like, the 3 stones are kind of useless, aren't really that valuable right now. There's really no way I'm going to kill this. I would like to attack it, but there's no way I'm going to kill it, so I'm just going to go ahead and sack the 3 stones out here, obviously. And I get the Sente, and, like, it's hard for him to attack me as well. This shape isn't great, but this down here is always, like, one that can make a base because he can't Hane because of that, obviously. And if he doesn't answer down here, if he tries to surround me, let's say, I can always just do this and essentially, like, either do this and try to get a base, or just straight up do this. And he has a cut point right here, which he actually has to deal with. So there's definitely ways to establish a base down here. So yeah, like, this group is not all that weak. And then he just goes there. I do this because I want to get rid of this kind of influence. He does this, which is a little odd because I don't like this move because it doesn't really attack this stone, doesn't really attack that stone, and you leave the 3/3 invasion here. I think a better move would just be to do this. If you want to play this way, you just do this. Then I would probably just do something like that at this point. And then you kind of just play me on the thing. But after this, he was already kind of behind. He does this, so I take the 3/3, because there's just not really that much territory after I take the 3/3, right? And the thing is, like, here, he might have just been better off doing this, because I don't think I would have made this... I don't know if I would have made this trade. I mean, I could have made this trade. Well, I guess I would have made this trade, because it makes everything really weak. But the thing is, like, what he ended up with wasn't that much better because, like, there's a lot of cuts here. If you don't fix this, if you just go ahead and attack me, like, I can just cut here at any time and you have problems. There's too many cuts. So there's a lot of problems that he did this. I think the 3/3 was definitely the right move. See, like, in situations like this stone is very light. This stone, he's not going to be able to kill. So the big territory he can get is actually the corner. So you just take the 3/3 on the corner. Then, of course, he basically plays that. He does that. That's fine. And then he does that. Now, he leaves a bunch of cuts here, which is going to matter later. I do this. He does this. This is pretty basic. I don't know. I thought about doing this, but I didn't want him to get that extension. I do this. So here's the thing. Like, even if he does this, I'm just going to back. So he... Oh, sorry. Not that. I'm just going to back. I'll give him the 2 stones. That's not a big deal. And I'll take the cash down here, the territory down here. That's how that works. That's actually how that plays out if you want to know how to play that. Do this, obviously. At this point, he should have known better and just done this. There's not much territory here. Like, once again, like, that's going to be a huge problem. That's going to be, like, all these cuts are going to be a problem. Like, I can even just start, like, this cut, and he would actually have to sacrifice these stones, but he still has that in here. Plus, like, if I do something like, oh, well, actually, no, he has that stone there. I can't do that. But, like, plus there's a lot of, like, there's a lot of stuff I can do here to reduce. I mean, you would have to go on this line. And realistically, like, that's not that much territory considering, like, what you actually just gave up, right? And, you know, there's still some Aji in here if I do this. It's not entirely clean. Because, you know, there's just stuff like, there's just things that people can do that you essentially have to answer to. That makes it like somewhat unclean. If you do this, I do this, and then you kind of have a situation on your hands. You kind of do have a situation on your hands. You might be able to kill it, but then again, you might not be able to kill it as well, because, you know, there's still kind of like this kind of issue here. If you do that, so like, and if you do this and do this, I mean, there's just all kinds of issues here. So like, even if when he does that, the kill honestly isn't very clean. There's still some Aji in here, probably not very much. And plus, like, there's always the clamp here, which reduces your territory significantly, and you can't go down because I'll just do this. So because, like, the clamp is here, you know, like, it's just not, the territory is just not that big. So I'm not really afraid of that either. But the thing is, he didn't even really do that. He extended another one, and at this point, I'm not really afraid, because if I just jump up, I don't think he can kill me. The better move might have been like something like this, honestly, if he really wanted to attack it. But, you know, or even this and then do this. But I mean, there's always going to be problems here if you try to do this. But then again, you could just like use this, borrow this to build this up, and then try to attack this group here later. So that's kind of like, if I was in his position, that's kind of like what I would be thinking. Kind of like trying to simultaneously attack these two groups because they're kind of weak. He does this, I fly out, he does this. Obviously, if I do this and he answers, I can just go ahead and do that, because, you know, that is kind of like, you know, that kills that, and then it's really hard to kill that group in there. So when I do this, he knows that, so he does that. He might just take a riskier approach and do that at this point. Yeah, I think that might actually be the better plan. I guess not that, but that might actually be the better plan. Well, maybe not, because then he has to go back. But either way, is like, there's not a really good answer to this. There really isn't. Because you withdraw back, I'm gonna Hane down, and then, you know, that's just not gonna work because I'm gonna take your bottom. That's not gonna work because now I can do this, and you can't really go down because I'll just disconnect here, and you're gonna have a problem. If you do this, I'm gonna do this, and then you're gonna have a lot of problems. I could do this and fight you, or realistically, I could just sacrifice this and basically kill this stuff down here, because this isn't yeah, like that you would have issues with. Actually, no, that doesn't work. But you would actually have to waste an extra move to kill this, and then I could just jump down, and this would pretty much be mine at this point. Or I could just, you know, kind of do this. And that would pretty much, I mean, you could try, but there's like so many problems that, there's like so many problems within this that you just wouldn't be able to get out. So like, I could exchange this group for this group, and I would still be way, way ahead in this game. So, or, you know, if I didn't want to give up that group, I'm actually fairly strong. So I can either Hane out and fight you here, or that's probably not a good idea. I would probably just like extend out. You would have to jump. I would connect, and then you don't really have a good way to kill me. You know, like you could do this, but remember, like your entire thing in here isn't quite alive, and you have a lot. You actually have a lot of problems. You can't really. I mean, you could try with this, but I guess you could do this as well, but and try to go for this group. But even at that, like I could just disconnect here. And you have way too many Hanes. So like there's just so many problems with this that there's really not a good way you can deal with this group. And since this group is already dead, I've broken pretty much all your territory. And then you do this, I'm just gonna go ahead and as long as I stay alive, I don't really care, you know. And of course that doesn't really work. And he basically just resigns here. I mean, if he does that, I'm going to do that, right? So the thing is, like, he essentially just resigns here after a couple more moves because this is kind of pointless. That's like completely kind of pointless, and there's so many problems here and here. I was just going to do this because this is a Sente for me, or I could even just do this, you know, like, because at this point he's basically got no territory. Essentially, he's got no territory. So as long as I kill off his corner, he still doesn't have any territory. I have this. I've broken all of this. I have this corner in here, and I have a lot of potential for territory because of all of these like cuts and everything. I could even attack like his weak group here. So he just doesn't have much at this point, and he knows he's behind by too much. He knows he's like behind by way too much, so he is going to he's just resigned. So that's basically like, and you can see like the percentages up here. I have 89.2% chance of winning at this point. So yeah, that's how this game went. It's kind of a weird game because, like I said, I played this guy a couple of times, and he just plays so awkwardly. He doesn't follow any of the Josekis. He's more like one of the Fox players, but a lot of his moves just aren't very good because, like, a lot of his moves, like, there are some moves that aren't very obvious how to deal with, but a lot of his moves are very, very obvious how to deal with, and there's like a lot of errors in those moves. It's kind of fun playing against this guy because you kind of like try out newer things, but at the same time, like, you know, if you really want to go much higher in rank, you can't completely play like this, because if you actually play like this, you know, as your opponents get stronger, they'll just figure out more and more of your errors, and once they do that, you're not going to be able to get too many games off of them. So, like, I think having a decent fighting strength and then going for weird ass fights can throw your opponents off from time to time, but once they get better, like, it's just not going to work all that well. So that is the game for today. Like and subscribe, hit that bell notifications button. Thank you, and have a nice day.